let's open our meeting at 6:34. And we'll start as usual by accepting a motion to waive reading of the remote
And
meeting.
I also move.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call.
I had some discussion on the minutes.
Okay, well, that's coming up next.
Oh, okay.
Okay, roll call vote on this one. Marilyn,
I,
Sean,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
and Norm, aye. Okay, first item is minutes of 2:23, I believe it is.
I'll make a motion to endorse the minutes. February 23rd.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that. But I'd like to hear what Marilyn has to say.
Yeah.
thank you. I've been trying to get organized here. Excuse me. My suggestion is on the top of the second page. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down. And I'd just like to clarify the sentence, which says, talks about providing access to lot 1 with the intent to provide vehicle access. I'm just knocking off a few words. Addison would be happy.
Okay, hold on.
It's about halfway across.
Planning case lot 2 could provide access
It's
to.
actually on the fifth line. Now it reads that could provide access to lot 1, which the likely intent be for vehicle accent. First, I was you can changing the which with. I'd like to do that anyway. And then I just crossed out likely with the intent to provide vehicle access, because they mentioned that on the in the meeting.
Okay. Tamika, you got that?
Hang on, sorry, I'm opening my minutes right now so that I can make the amendment. So Marilyn, you wanted to say the plan indicates lot 2 could provide access to lot 1 with the intent to be for vehicle access.
Yeah, with the intent to provide vehicle access.
Okay. The intent to provide vehicle access. Okay, and then just scratch out the other words in the sentence, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I made that change right now.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
I just wanted to add on the Community Preservation Act. I read these more thoroughly than I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's under Community Preservation Act.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down at the end of the sentence. It's, okay, I see, it says a certain dollar amount. All right, I got it, never mind. That one's fine.
And
And
to
that's it.
Marilyn, line up above it, etc.
Pardon me?
You know, in that Community Preservation Act,
Yeah.
the word etc. What does, be more precise is what I have down here. So what does etc. mean?
What line is?
Well,
What's the
one up
third line?
above yours,
Line.
Marilyn.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I see what you're talking about, Dick. I put etc. just because Peter had mentioned that there were other uses, but he didn't list all of them. So I just put it there to indicate that there were more possible uses, but I didn't specifically know which ones.
Should we change that, Dick, to land acquisitions, comma, and more possible uses?
Well, that's the same thing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
think you'd probably have to read the act itself to get all of the, the specific things, and Peter didn't list all of them.
Well, I don't think you have to list all of them, but I think that I like Tim's when he said, and other possible uses.
Yeah,
Well, et cetera means that it's just the fact that this is for informational. It would have been nice to have all the information. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just don't like the word et cetera usually, because my first thought is, well, what are you telling me?
It would not stand up in court.
yeah.
That's why I was thinking, basically use the definition of et cetera, which is more possible uses.
Mm-hmm. I like that too.
Or something like and similar uses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that too, Norm.
I am.
All right, I'll go along with that.
I just amended that as well.
That's it.
Let's see.
The only other thing that, Norm, that I wanted to bring up, and it's more of a question to Dave to see if he got the time to take a look at Brittenell Estates for our future meeting discussion of pulling all the books. And I know there's no way in 2 weeks to get everything together, but I want to see if you got that started.
Oh, I don't know, Dave, are you there?
Yeah. I frankly haven't had a chance to start on that. I mean,
Okay,
we have other competing priorities here at the moment.
good enough. Good enough.
Okay, on page 4 of the minutes, the food truck,
Mm-hmm.
and I did say it had a 21E problem, and I feel that it should be added into the minutes.
They had what kind of a problem?
It had what?
It had a 21E problem. It's a DEP. It's contaminated or soils.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a question on that.
Yeah, but should we put possible? Because I don't know. I don't. Yeah.
Did you read the item from?
Yeah, the tie and bond. Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
But
The only thing is, we didn't have that, I don't believe, at the last meeting.
I think
No.
I think Tamika's right. I think we just asked if they
I
had looked
brought it
into
up
Because the
it.
hearing is tonight.
I advised Mark to do his due diligence and to check it out, but it does not say check out what.
It
And
does.
I did say 21E, and that's all I'm just asking. It says in here, Dick advised Mark to do due diligence since the property was used as a gas station for many years. And
Right.
it had a 21E problem.
Yeah, you could put that in there.
Yeah, but we didn't really discuss that. We said it might. Ask them if they looked
No,
at.
if I may, Marilyn, interrupt you,
Mhm.
and through Norm, what Dick is trying to say is, it doesn't state that we discussed it. It just that he advised Mark to do his due diligence. Now, if you leave the sentence the way that it is, so when you're reading it, we're like, his due diligence to do what? So if you did his due diligence to,
Yep, I agree.
investigate a 21E on the property that's used because it was used as a gas station.
We just need to put it in the minutes. Dick's right. He brought it up. It should be in the minutes, just indicating what the possible problem could be.
So if I may, Dick advised that Mark do his due diligence to investigate a possible 21E or DEP 21E since the property was used as a gas station for many years, and just add those certain words. Would that be okay, Dick?
Yes.
I agree.
Dick, is there a word after 21E? Is it like called something specific, or is it just 21E?
They just call it a 21E issue.
Issue.
Okay, I agree. Issue is fine.
Yep. Okay, good enough. I agree.
Okay, I updated that.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else, anything else on minutes?
The next one down is the DLT grant, scenic byway, but it said, take recommendations made for Route 122, and I believe that's where you should add in scenic byway and make them happen. Just add the two words after 122, scenic byway.
That makes sense.
If I could also just jump in on that one too. And the CMRPC is not proposing the project, town staff is.
Okay, got it. I'll make those changes.
That's it for me.
Okay, anybody else, anything on minutes? And I think we did have a motion and a second to accept them, so roll call vote. Sean?
I with changes, I guess, because we need, shouldn't we
Okay.
say that the word changes made?
Okay. Okay, Dick?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Norm, aye. Okay, minutes are done. Planning board budget is next item. Basically, there's pretty much nothing new on this. I guess the only thing that I'd mention is that I guess, you know, budget negotiations are still going on, and I don't know. I've been hearing a variety of not very nice numbers, but by the same token, it's got a ways to go, to say the least. And I don't know. I was discussing a little bit with Dave George, and I just keep thinking over the past 20 years, every year, every single year, it's, oh, we're $100,000 in the red. We're $300,000 in the red. We're $500,000 in the red. And then when it finally comes to town meeting time, son of a gun, they do come up with a balanced budget.
Norm, I don't think it's going to happen this year.
I don't think so.
No, because they're already gone into this year $400,000 in the red, and they haven't even finished up last year's budget. And now the schools could put us well into over $1 million in the red. So this is going to be a tough year.
Yeah.
But the beauty is, from the school side, is that, and again, this is my opinion, this isn't anything factual, is that I don't think the schools have the support of all four towns, with the exception of Rutland, like they used to.
Wow. Yeah, there certainly is that.
So
The other thing I'm still just wondering about, and I realize it's probably a ways off, but this new stimulus package supposedly does have money for cities, towns, and schools.
$40 billion.
Okay. I don't know. Rutland might get $10 of that.
Norm,
Yeah.
I have a question on the budget. Did anybody tell the TA that about a revolving account on the planning board must be voted by the planning board before they take any money?
Let's see.
Without
And you were
asking
supposed
us?
to provide a letter too, Dick, weren't they? If I may? On the reasons why, just a statement stating on paper why they needed to take that money from us.
Okay, I don't recall that.
Yeah, Sean, the only thing I thought we were going to I shouldn't say ask Norm to do when he goes before the FICOM is let him know that from our revolving fund, if we have to, we can put $5,000 towards Dave's salary if the FICOM requires it, if they can't balance the budget. I thought that's what we were going to do, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's what they did previous.
Yeah, the previous I don't agree with, but that's water under the bridge as far as I'm concerned.
And
But
like I
I
said,
wanted them to know that what they should be doing is you know, let them know that send a letter or have us vote on it before they go taking it out.
Oh, I think,
that will definitely have to happen.
yeah, Norm, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay. And I believe the TA understands that at this point.
That's all I want to know. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure that he knows,
Mhm.
or anybody else that's,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, well, and like I say, my big concern is making certain that well, no other authority in town has access to that money without planning board permission,
correct.
formal planning board permission.
And Norm, I guess I want to advise. I've heard rumblings that there's discussions of moving some of the revolving funds into a general fund transparency. And I am, with what we do, I am adamantly opposed to that because we keep track of our revolving funds for our different subdivisions.
Mhm.
And unlike other revolving funds that eventually would go back into the general fund, we have to refund whatever's left over to our developers. So putting it into a general fund makes no sense to me.
I would have to agree there. Uh,
I as
So as
well.
I,
And
uh,
Tamika, could you make sure that's in the minutes?
I sure can.
Thank you.
And is this normal? I make the motion to refund or reinstate our stipends?
you know what chance there is of that?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else getting that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
Well, Norm, a quick question on the budget. So would you like this to be kept on the agenda?
Um,
Until you see the finance committee?
well, yeah, I have no idea whether I'm going to see the finance committee.
Really?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
The vice chair has assured me of that.
Okay. I have not received an invitation.
I think they just started tonight, so
Not yet, Norm, but I'll let you know when you're up.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm looking forward to it. uh, anyway, blah, blah, blah.
I think we
Well,
should,
just wonder
Norm,
if you wanted this
because
to be a carryover and be
Yeah,
kept on
let's
future agendas.
let's keep it on there. I guess I think I want it on there until we do formally take that vote
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
to allow the $5,000 be used.
Okay.
And I don't see any reason that we need to vote that tonight. Okay. Any other discussions about budget and bankruptcy and any of that kind of stuff?
bankruptcy,
Oh yeah, Norm, I did hear that because the schools can't afford it, they're getting rid of all pension funds. So were you getting pension?
Yeah. uh,
yeah, we shouldn't joke about that on live TV. Someone might
yeah. Oh,
take that the wrong way.
yeah.
Well, I'm tired of sensitivity, so I'm really fed up with the whole country's sensitivity. So
Yeah, I agree.
now I can't have Pepe Le Pew on any movie, so I'm a little bit frustrated right now.
Pepe Le Pew, Mr. Potato, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, I'm getting frustrated.
They're killing my childhood. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Norm, do you think that all the fees that we collect are sufficient enough at this time? Or should we look at it in the future?
Wow. let's put it this way. The only thing that I can go by, and I think Tim, you can back me up.
Yeah.
Sometime back, you did a little bit of research into our fees compared to what other towns were doing.
And we were on, if to give a quick shoot from the hip, we were in the top 80 percentile for fees compared to some of our counterparts.
And that's why we're in good shape at the moment for us.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I would recommend leaving it alone for now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Other than possibly legal fees, I don't see that we've had much of an increase. In our cost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not with that inexpensive Carl Holgren, Norm.
Yeah. And let's not forget mentioning our super efficient Tamika.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Just remind me just a little later on between Dave and Norm what I brought up to Dave. Oh, by the way, Britnell, how many houses are built there, and the special conditions, what it says on it.
What? You mean on Brentnell Drive?
On Britnell Drive, Britnell Estates, how many houses that Mr. Blair built on Britnell Estates already?
Oh. Yeah, that's on the other side of the bridge, right, Norm, or right, Dick?
I thought so.
Yeah, we've already proved that by the deeds, if I remember right.
If you read the special conditions, which let me just pull it up and just say to you, special conditions number 2, which there are 2 of them. The applicant should contribute $250 at the time of the sale of each unit within the subdivision to a trust fund of the town of Rutland for the future preservation of open space in the town of Rutland. So what did you do with the money, Norm?
You'll never find it.
Dick, to Norm's somewhat defense, I don't think we were ever informed that anything in Britnell Estates was ever built.
That is true.
That is true, but I'm just saying that's part of our special conditions. In case you people did not remember it, I'm just bringing it up.
Okay.
And so I think in the future we need to find out what to do about getting that money into our special account.
I think maybe we'll give Clea a surprise birthday party and present him with a bill.
All right.
So I just wonder if I could just jump in. So we do have a couple of hearings tonight. One is scheduled for 6:50. The other one is scheduled for 7:05. I was wondering if you consider taking things out of order at this point.
Okay, why don't we? So why don't we skip down directly to the one that's supposed to be at 6:50, which is a special permit for common driveway on 157 Intervale Road, which you have the plans for and the application.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mark Elbag. I'm on the line for the applicant, and I believe the applicant, Rick and Tabitha Merchant, are also on the line.
Okay.
Mark, good to hear you.
How you doing?
We're hanging in there.
Good.
Okay, just want to briefly describe what you're talking about.
Yes, certainly. This is there currently exists a common driveway that serves 2 homes. on this plan that's on the screen, it's the house to the left, which is Rick's house, and the lot to the right, which is his son Joshua. This special permit is to convert the common driveway that serves 2 homes to a common driveway that will serve 3 homes via the special permit application process. So the new home will be for his daughter, which is in the center labeled Lot B.
Can't. Why? I'm in a meeting, man. You shut the door, please. You're letting cold air in.
And
Sorry about that.
I believe everybody does have a full-size copy of the plan, and we also have it up on the screen. This is should be familiar to most everybody because this was submitted as an A&R not very long ago.
Correct. The A&R is now on record.
Did you say it is now accurate, Mark?
Now on record with the courthouse. It's all
on record. Okay.
Sorry about that.
I have a question.
Yep.
Where it connects onto Intervale Road, I don't see a drawing of how steep is it that it comes down? Is there a leveling area on that special permit driveway?
There is actually a site plan that goes along with this. The site plan mostly shows the driveway details and the required signage. I didn't get into the topo too much, as this is all existing, and very little will be actually newly constructed driveway.
Is there a leveling area before Intervale?
I don't know the exact slope percentage, but let me pull up the plan. I might be able to decipher it. I want to say it comes into the road around 5 or probably between 5 and 6%.
Norm, I think our special permit states what it's supposed to be.
I don't know, Dave. Can you look that up? I don't recall.
I'm looking right now.
I don't recall anything regarding grade.
When a driveway comes down to a road, and we did it on the first one we ever did on Route 68, it had to have a leveling area, and I thought it was only 3%.
I don't believe the leveling area is in the common driveway regs, but I could be wrong. But I didn't get too deep into it on this one because it is all existing.
Yeah, because I was under the impression, Norm, that for a 2-lot, it wasn't, but I thought maybe it was a 3rd lot. We had to do a little bit more concentration on that.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
I'm assuming Dave is looking that up at this point.
Yeah, so, I don't see a specification for the slope of the driveway as it enters the street. I am wondering though if that's a DPW requirement, not a planning board requirement.
You know,
So if I could speak to that, I know DPW does require a paved apron now, and oftentimes do require a culvert, but I haven't seen anything as far as a leveling area to date as a requirement.
Well, here's the only thing, Dave, that I found that basically could speak to what Norm and Dick had say. It says in our section F, the common driveway construction shall conform to the planning board's regulations and shall be approved by the Department of Public Works superintendent prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy. The planning board may require certain standards of subsurface preparation, drainage, and surfacing. That's about the only thing that I see in this bylaw that could be taken as any leveling or anything like that. So I don't know if that helps or hurts, but that's the only thing I can find.
well, okay, obviously we don't have any slope regulations in that bylaw, and they basically have to get approval from DPW. So to me, that's where that lies.
Yeah.
So if I could, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like me to speak to that, I mean, this all has previously been approved by DPW as it is in existence.
But this is going to be I guess I'm confused, Mark, is because this is going to be, there's nothing new being created with any of this driveway at all?
Only the only section that's new is actually going to be on lot B, way up at the center of the lot, about 100 or 150 feet off the road. Everything else is already existing and previously approved by the planning board and or the DPW.
Well, you're going to create a section that ties lots, or Richard Tabitha's Merchant, with Joshua's. So you're saying that section that goes between those two properties is going to be new, correct?
So this plan right here, if you're looking at the screen,
Yep,
that shows a bunch of easement areas.
correct.
Everything in those easement areas is already constructed. The only piece of new driveway is actually going to connect where the label says lot B to the end of that easement area C on Joshua's lot. So it's only about 100 feet of driveway, not even being constructed at the very end of this existing driveway.
Well, I'm confused. How did,
If you scroll to the site plan, it might show it a little better. Or whoever's controlling the screen.
Left.
all right. Set this.
I sent an electronic application package. It should be the last page of the package in the PDF, if that helps.
All right, I'm looking.
If you don't, I can explain. If it's trouble, I can continue. I can explain it on this plan one more time.
Oh, I got it.
Excuse me,
This is
what
it. This
is
is what
it?
you
What
call
are you
your
referring
driveway
to?
plan? Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for.
I just wonder, what plan are you referring to that's in the packet?
There's a site plan that's in the packet, David. That's I think the last page of that electronic file I sent you.
Is that the one that refers to driveway plan?
Yep.
I don't think I have that.
So, Mark, you're saying this driveway, which is that little section? Oh, okay.
So lot B in the center is going to actually be the new house.
Yep.
Joshua and Richard and Tabitha's lots already have the driveways that are in those easement areas.
Oh, so all you're gonna do is bring their driveway into the existing driveway that's already there, correct?
Correct. The
That's
house
not an
the
easement.
house is going to be right about where the lot B label is, and the driveway is just going to skirt over to that easement area C that's already all constructed driveway serving Joshua's lot.
Oh boy. But their driveway goes into, or it goes into another lot. I guess that's where my confusion is.
Yes, that's why that's the reason for easement area C.
Oh, okay, that's all, that easement area C is all along the property, and part of that'll be where the driveway goes into the existing driveway. Okay.
Exactly.
But this is where I've got to ask a question where I'm not sure. Isn't part of our common driveway is there's got to be a drive? Maybe not. Okay. I was just thinking that middle lot doesn't seem to have any access to the road to build a house. So, but I guess that was in the A&R portion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the middle lot has, over 200 feet of frontage on Intervale.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess now that I see this driveway layout, yeah. Okay. I'm glad I'm not plowing this.
I'm just wondering, can I just answer a question that's out there regarding the driveway?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave. I'm
So
curious.
so the common driveway refers back to the subdivision regulations. And what we have there is driveways shall be installed in conformity with design specifications on plate 7. Driveway aprons shall be paved within the road right of way to the same pavement thickness of roadway construction. So I'm not seeing a specification for slope, just that it matches the thickness of the existing road.
And it's already existing, so Dave, is that sort of a moot point that the DPW should have taken care of when this previous driveway was built?
Yes, exactly. But I just wanted to answer it. I did take a time to take a look to try to find an answer to that question.
No, I see what you're saying, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Dick, are you satisfied with the entrance at Intervale at this point?
I'll take it, yep.
Okay. Okay, do you have any other questions or comments from the board, particularly?
All I can say, Norm, is I hope they never sell these properties, because whoever buys them is going to be in all kinds of fun.
That's their problem.
Yeah, I know. It's buyer beware. I've got the philosophy of Sean. All right.
Okay.
I guess I got one more question, Norm.
Yeah.
They've got a homeowners agreement, correct? Is that document? Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, there are two documents.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as part of the application, we submitted the homeowners agreement and the easement language.
Okay, I thought that's in the back of this packet, if I'm not mistaken. Yep.
Yeah.
My question, Norm, is shouldn't there already be easement documentation for the 2 lots already? Shouldn't that already be done as part of the deed, or am I wrong?
Technically, yes, there should be.
That's
So,
This
so
new-
Mr. Chairman, I can speak to that if you'd like.
Okay.
So this lot B was newly created, so the existing easements on record, Joshua Merchant actually holds easements over the parcel, which includes lot B of Rick and Tabitha Merchant. So their easement that is existing largely matches easement area B and easement area A identically. The new easements will be easement area D and easement area C, since lot B will be deeded out into someone else's name.
Okay.
All right.
So in other words, this new easement would supersede the original one.
Correct.
But the easement for Richard and Tabitha's would still be the same, correct?
The homeowners agreement would change, but Richard and Tabitha never had an easement because it was all their property, both lot B and the remaining land. So
Yeah.
the only existing easement right now is that Joshua has an easement over Richard and Tabitha's land.
Yeah.
Which encompasses easement area A and easement area B.
And that would change because now he'd have basically 2 easements for 2 different property owners, correct?
Believe it or not, that one will still survive because it's not going to change. And then, lot B will actually hold easement area C, and easement area D and B are to the benefit of the Tabitha Merchant lot.
Okay.
So I tried to break it up and make it clean on the plan so the lawyers could just use those
Well, that's what I was
4
going to
different
say.
areas to.
Mark, this is going to be a lawyer's dream.
Yeah, I tried to keep it. I didn't want to make the plan messy, but it works, and I think it will work well for the lawyers as long as they connect all the dots.
Yep. Did I? I'm just trying to go through this packet and make sure. I was looking for the homeowners agreement, and I saw the easement verbiage, but I didn't see the homeowners agreement. Maybe a quick second. It might have been stuck between pages. No.
I don't think we had a copy. You didn't send a copy of the homeowners agreement, did you? You don't
Yeah,
have a
it's
copy.
it's it's in there. It's the same one I've used for all the ones I've been involved with so far. It's pretty. Jerry Powers authored it originally, and it's really just based around the zoning requirements. The zoning spells it out pretty well.
It's right after the easement document.
Oh, it just doesn't have a title called homeowners agreement. It says this agreement made. Okay, fine.
I looked it over. At least as I recall, it does contain the key things that that I remember, particularly about basically holding the town of Rutland having no responsibility or liability regarding the common driveway.
Okay.
Um,
Now, what do you, the one thing, Mark, I guess I had a question on is I see in the homeowners agreement, it says the common driveway shall conform, basically it's reiterating the approved by the Department of Public Works prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy. Is there some document that you got to put with this homeowners agreement saying that the DPW chief has signed off on it?
I don't believe so. I believe just this final signed agreement gets recorded.
Okay. All right.
It actually gets recorded with the special permit decision.
Well, as long as the town has its asphalt covered, I think we're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
the only thing, Norm, does the building inspector get a copy of this? Do you know?
I don't believe so necessarily.
And he or she should, because this is my opinion, and again, I'm not an attorney, but it says that prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy, all of this stuff has to be signed off. So, and it says, it doesn't say would, it says shall. So I don't know, maybe that's a step. David, maybe you can jump in and tell me if I'm wrong.
Just to jump in on this question, so under 40, under section H, FH, the approved plan shall be recorded with the Worcester District Registry of Deeds and a copy of such plan provided to the building department.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is a requirement in the zoning bylaw.
All right, so the building inspector would get this homeowner's agreement with the property, correct?
You would get a copy of the approved plan.
Oh. That might be a hole in our bylaw, huh?
I'm not sure there's really an issue to be had here. I mean, when the applicant seeks a building permit for new construction, then we will go through the zoning bylaw to make sure that what's required has been submitted. It's, as Mark knows, it's common for us to say, we need a copy of the A&R.
Yeah.
And then the copy of the A&R is produced, it gets added to Viewpoint. We'll make sure the plan is added to Viewpoint, and if there's a reason for the homeowners agreement to be added to Viewpoint, we will make sure that happens as well. Is that agreeable, Mark, to you?
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, the other kind of fail-safe you have is that these decisions get recorded, and the lawyers see the decisions, and all this is actually spelled out and required by the decision. So, the buyer and seller's lawyers oftentimes pick up on it and have copies of this anyways.
Exactly. We also ask you to provide a copy of the recorded decision along with the building permit.
Right, exactly. And it's all spelled out in that decision. That's a lengthy decision. I think it's like 11 pages.
All right. Well, the only point I was getting at is there's some approval process with the Department of Public Works superintendent, and I don't know where that gets picked up.
So that gets picked up before you can get a building permit. So regardless of whether the driveway is common or not, you actually have to put up a bond and pull a driveway permit before you can get a building permit.
All right, and then that will cover your certificate of occupancy because he'll have
Right.
to release that before he allows you to Okay, good enough.
Exactly.
I just wanted to make sure our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. That's it. Thanks, I appreciate it. Good enough. I'm good.
Okay, the only other thing that I want to bring up, like I say, this this document looks pretty darn familiar to me. It seems to me that it's containing what we need. Does anybody feel there's a need for a legal review of the document?
Negative.
No, I agree. No, I think we're good.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments from the board? And then,
I'm good. I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
well,
Any
hold on.
public out there?
Hold on a little bit. I see we have like 19 people online here. So is there any questions or comments from the general public? Hearing nothing. I hear silence.
A little silence, my old friend.
Yes. Well, then I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Again, I'll make that motion to close the hearing.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Ugh. Roll call vote. Marilyn,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Norm, aye. Not that we have to, but I don't
Thank
see
you,
any
folks.
reason not
Have a
to.
good night, Mark. Appreciate it coming.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion to approve the common driveway, or do we wait till the decision is written?
I don't see that we need to wait to vote to grant the special permit.
That's what I was gonna say. I guess I'll make a motion to grant the special permit at 157 Intervale Drive or Intervale Road to Richard and Tabitha Merchant.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion?
I should say for common driveway. I apologize.
Once again, any discussion? Anything further? Hearing none. Roll call vote again. Tim,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Marilyn,
Aye.
Norm, aye. Okay, we have that one taken care of. Let's see. Where are we at?
For 5.
Okay, let's go.
We have another hearing, correct?
Since we have another hearing, it was scheduled for 7:05. We're at 7:23. Why don't we skip to that public hearing?
Yep, let's get that out of the way.
They take care of it. So this is a public hearing on a petition by Mark and Helen Bryant for site plan. Okay. For site plan review for use of a food truck at 217 Barre Paxton Road. We have the document. Do we have the applicants here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, would you want to briefly give us a rundown of what it is you're looking to do here?
Sure. My name is Mark Bryan. My wife and I, our plan is to put a food service trailer. It is a 14-foot by 7-foot trailer at 217 Barre Paxton Road. It's a self-sufficient trailer. It has its own water. Electricity is supplied by the building we are going to be leasing, the front building, 217.
All right.
And so we have. So what happens is it's a mobile food trailer, but we want to keep it stationary right there in place. As you can see by the site plan, the trailer sits about 10 feet off the building. The power supply is a 50 amp cord that plugs into the side of the building. Water is brought in every day, and gray water is removed every day from the trailer. It has its own heater, and all the food that we cook and serve there is cooked in the trailer. The rental space we have, half of that building, is just for storage of freezers, refrigerators, and supplies. Nothing happens in that building except the storage. I don't know what else you'd like to know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sure.
You would, your plan is to be open year round?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. In that same idea, do you have any at least potential ideas of what your hours of operation would be?
Our hours of operation will be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, with Sundays and Mondays off. Will be closed.
Mm-hmm.
That's right now. We could expand more, but right now this is the plan.
Okay.
That was 7 a.m. to what time?
7 p.m.
Okay.
So if I may, through the chair, are there any legal restrictions on, because you say this is going to be a mobile food truck, but then you're saying that it's going to be permanently stationed there. Is there any restrictions on that, on that? I mean, does it have to be a brick and mortar place in order for it to be a restaurant? Because if it's going to be, I just don't understand the difference between a restaurant and a mobile food truck. And I'm not sure if that's planning boards. That's something we need to know. But you're saying you're creating a permanent structure that's.
No, that's not what I said at all.
Okay.
I said it's going to be there. We don't want to move it. It is movable. It's on 4 tires. It's a trailer. It can be moved. We'd rather just keep it in place, but it can be moved at a moment's notice.
Okay.
I think the only problem would arise would be this sounds kind of funny, but if they were to decide to take the wheels off, okay.
Yeah, we would not.
You know, then it becomes a more permanent type structure.
Right, and right now the wheels hold it up. I don't want to brace the frame or anything like that. It's on tires. I plan on it being on tires, and never thought about making it permanent.
Yeah. Okay.
Is this something usual that will come before a planning board? I mean, I'm not that new. I mean, I've been here for 4 years, but we've never dealt with this situation, at least in my time, for something like this. So if a restaurant wants to open in town, if they wanted to build a structure, I could understand them wanting to come to the planning board, but since.
You mean like KP's in the Honey Farm or in the Sims building?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's, yeah, something like that. I mean, but this is a food truck, so wasn't it just something he would go through the Board of Health and?
Already been there.
Yeah, I mean, just what's the reason that he needs to come before us besides just if
Site
not on a
plan review.
checklist?
Norm, isn't it site plan review because there's parking and stuff like that on the property and it's at a corner of a major road?
The bottom line is that our zoning doesn't specifically allow. There's no language regarding food trailers.
There's no language prohibiting food trailers.
No, there's not.
Okay,
And,
so,
you know, I don't know. I think what I'd kind of like to do is maybe turn this over to Dave for a little bit because he's had some pretty complete discussions with the building inspector regarding this.
okay.
Norm, before you do that, this is also in our village center district, right? Which we've got specific rules that require site plan review.
That is correct.
Okay, that's all I got to say.
You know, for certain things.
Correct.
Now, sir, will you be, own, I guess it really doesn't matter if is the property yours or will you be renting off?
I'm leasing. The property does not belong to me.
Okay,
I'm leasing half of that building and the site where the trailer is.
okay. And, Village Center is zoned for restaurant use, right, Chair?
I believe yes.
Okay, all right. So that would cover it.
Or would it?
This is where I think Dave steps in.
I mean, yeah, let's see what Dave is. I'm sorry, I'll start talking before, 'cause I really don't know.
So,
All right, so working with the building commissioner and working with the applicant. So the applicant approached the subject several months ago, as far back as October 2020, as I recall. And the question was whether a food truck was an allowed use at this location. So we took a look at the question and we didn't see that a food truck was specifically allowed in the zoning district. Now, use is not specifically allowed in a zoning district, strictly speaking, are prohibited unless there's a reasonable interpretation to be had. So in looking at the uses that are allowable in the zoning district, there are several food uses. So the use so it appears that the use could reasonably be connected to something that's allowed at present for food use. However, a site plan review is required to modify a structure over a certain size. Because of this use being interpreted as an extension of the existing buildings, it constitutes an increase of the structures, which requires the site plan. Now, this was a very favorable reading of the zoning bylaw to allow this particular use to provide a pathway forward to get to this board tonight, as opposed to alternative readings, which would be just, no, it's not an allowed use at all. So that's why it's here tonight before the planning board.
Now, Dave, forgive me if you said this in the beginning, just because it's not on the list as available uses, permissible uses, that doesn't mean that it's prohibited, correct?
No, the use would be prohibited unless it's either listed in the bylaw or there's a reasonable interpretation of something very similar to it.
Okay.
So the ordinary operation of zoning bylaws, as verified through case law, indicates that if a use is not specifically allowed or listed, it's prohibited. It doesn't have to be stated in the negative in order for that to carry.
Okay.
so you know, I would kind of think it would be something like, you know, for example, while okay, if a food trailer isn't specifically mentioned, if a takeout restaurant is mentioned as allowable in the bylaw, it could be reasonably interpreted that this is a form of a takeout restaurant.
Exactly, but the piece here is that because this operation will be more or less permanently located on site, we would consider that to be an extension of the existing structures.
Okay.
In addition to an existing structure of a certain size requires the site plan. And also there's impact on site plan considerations as you can see with this very busy intersection. There ought to be a concern for vehicles efficiently accessing the site, getting on and off, whether the parking is adequate for the proposed use, whether the location of the trailer is in an appropriate location to allow for efficient vehicular access. whether there's any conflict with any other potential uses of the site. So these are all relevant site plan review criteria, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense to me anyway.
So the purpose of this hearing is to see whether or not we'll allow him to continue with the special permitting process. Is that correct?
No, there's no
No.
special
No.
permit. It's site plan approval and that's it.
Site plan? Okay, yeah, okay, all right, thank you. Okay,
And any other questions, comments from the board?
Norm, I noticed for the site plan review, and it's just me, want to make sure we got our I's dotted and T's crossed. With these waivers on attachment 1, do we need to put that in the, what's the word I'm looking for? The,
Notice of decision?
thank you. I appreciate you. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, they would definitely have to be.
Okay,
And
good.
if you look at most of them, they just don't really apply.
Correct. I just want to make sure that we get them in there so we dot our I's and cross our T's and we're all good.
Yeah.
So we need to, I think that we should discuss parking and whether or not there's adequate access on the road. And the number of accidents on that corner.
wouldn't that come further later on though, Marilyn? If, when he brings in the,
I think that's part of the site plan review.
You're
Yeah.
correct, Marilyn. Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely an appropriate discussion at this point.
okay,
Is there any signage that's gonna be in obstructing the view of a passenger car trying to pull out, or a truck, trailer truck?
No, there's been no signage. We're hoping if everything goes the way we plan it to go, traffic is going to be entering from Pleasantdale Road. If you can see it on the site plan, we'll have it marked off with signage to have them enter in front of the building and park facing out towards 122A. So there's nobody backing out into traffic. And if that does happen, if they do pull in that way, we'll ask them to move. We also have additional parking behind the other unoccupied buildings, but we never expect it to be that busy. We expect people to come in, take their food and go. If people do stay in the summer and spring and they want to sit at a picnic table that we're hoping to have, then that we'll make sure that the parking it's all going to be, we all know it's all going to be enter and exit, and it should be marked out. So there should be no question, but it's hard to control traffic. So we'll make sure that as they come in right. And if they come in wrong, we'll ask them to move.
It seems like your traffic flow is probably about the best that it could be. So certainly, Route 122 is a fast moving road, and I don't know what the real history of accidents is at Pleasantdale Road, but I wouldn't doubt that there's been more than its share.
Yes.
The only thing I would say is I don't picture this necessarily generating a lot of new traffic. It might be causing the existing traffic to do some different things, namely stop at the food truck. But
that's my plan. That's my plan.
I don't think you're going to have people driving up from Worcester to come to the food truck. It's not too likely anyway, unless you're serving some really, really good meals.
Well, that's our plan.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to catch that traffic. We're hoping to catch that morning traffic to work. We're hoping to catch a lot of the construction people and workers that are at lunch, and, finding lunch that way. Everything's going to be fast, quick, and easy. It's going to be hot meals. It's going to be, and I think people are looking to get it and go. That's what we're hoping for. And if people decide to come summertime to stay, we're hoping to have picnic tables in the grass lawn area to keep them away from the traffic and everything else, and keep it a little quieter, and just make it an enjoyable place to have something to eat.
I think that you said when you were here before that you've operated these types of businesses before.
Yes, my wife ran one at the Home Depot in Worcester, in the parking lot at Home Depot in
Oh,
Worcester
okay.
for 5 years. And my son, who works with us, is he's a chef from Holden. He's worked in Holden. He's worked in West Boylston. So he's a seasoned chef.
Well, that sounds good.
So Mark, I gotta ask you, is he Eddie Bracebridge trained?
That's a good question.
That's off the record. Eddie was a phenomenal chef, and he's trained a lot of people that I know. So
Yeah, no, Kenneth went to a Bay Path, and
okay.
he did a lot of his work, a lot of his learning and work at different local restaurants as he was growing up.
I mean, the only point I've got is Dick brought up about the 21E, and I read through the tie and bond report that Dave sent out earlier today. It seems like they dotted their I's and crossed their T's a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I didn't see anything that jumped out at me that was going to cause any issues, at least from site plan review. The what's with Peter, that's a different, that's out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
As long as you don't start digging things up.
I ain't digging. I'm not a thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted everybody to be aware of it. That's all.
Yeah.
No, Dick, I think it's a good idea because it brought that tie and bond report out, and that's a good thing to have in our records if this ever comes up again.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from the board?
I don't.
I don't really have any questions or comment. Why not? But I do have a comment. I just realized, sir, I'm actually your next door neighbor.
You right across the way, yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll have to just with I mean, I hate to say it, but I'll have to recuse myself.
Okay, I don't think we've ever met though,
So yeah, but yeah, I just realized that I mean, I don't really recognize it. I don't get much on that back side of the street, but just so anybody else would say that I was, because you are my neighbor, playing favorites, I'll have to step aside.
Okay.
This is Norm, this is for Dick. Are there going to be any street lights there?
Wash your mouth out with soap.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the public?
I have a comment. My name's Evan Sawyer. I'm in a butter on the property next door to this. I want a point of clarification. Is the board ruling on this that this is allowed by right, or are you issuing a special permit for this?
It's not by special permit. It's allowed by site plan review.
Okay, I just wanted a point of clarification because I saw a number of items and provisions in the zoning bylaw that led me to believe that it was a fully acceptable use of the site, have a food truck on it. I just want to make sure that that's what the reading was of it.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else from the public?
Yes, I would like to speak.
Yes.
My mother and I live on the property next to that at 207 Pleasantdale Road. I have a couple of concerns. The traffic has been already spoken about, but I can definitely provide some clarity on the number of accidents that happen on Pleasantdale at that intersection. Multiple times per month, I have to call 911 because there's another accident. And that's just at that one intersection. That's not including the times that people are pulling out of the mobile station and get nailed by somebody going down 122 too fast. So my biggest concern is the traffic, and that it's already such a bad intersection. And I feel like adding one more, even just going out onto 22 and in on Pleasantdale, adding another situation that's going to contribute to the problem that's already there is not helpful. And I have a very big concern that it's going to be a lot worse than what it already is. I understand that we're not thinking about additional traffic coming in, but even the traffic that's there right now is having an issue. So I think adding something else is going to make it worse. My other big concern is in the plan, it says that there's additional parking in the back behind the unoccupied house. That is not true. Right now, there are 6 school buses that are parked there. Also, where the entrance that is on the plan is, there is currently an oil truck that has been parked there pretty consistently. So we already have like 2 uses on that property that are not including this. So I'm just curious as to, is this really allowed to have 3 separate uses on this one property? And I'm not necessarily opposed to this. Like, I want to make that clear. I'm not necessarily opposed, but I think that I don't know that this is the best spot for it. I just am very concerned about the traffic coming in and going out in that intersection when it's right there. It's not going to be a huge structure. Mobile is a pretty big structure. It's hard to miss that when you're going drive down the road. Seeing a small food truck is going to be a lot more difficult for people that are traveling on that road. And I'm just very concerned about that. I don't want to keep calling 911 even more. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Do we have anyone else from the public?
Yes. My name is Betty and Slopicki, and I live at 218 Pleasantdale Road, right across from Jennifer, who just spoke. And I'm in total agreement with her as far as the number of accidents at that intersection is unbelievable. I've been here for 10 years. And when I first moved here, there wasn't that much traffic. There weren't that many tractor trailers. Now it's out of control, in my opinion. People speed on this road like constantly. Sometimes there's a policeman right by that property that you want to put the food truck there by the unoccupied garage. But if there was a person in the middle of Pleasantdale, I think they would get more people speeding. But people go by here, I say at least 60 to 70 miles an hour. And then they screech to a halt at that intersection. And that's what causes a lot of accidents. I have a son that has a disability. We cannot walk on the road anymore. We used to, but I can't take him out anymore because it's way too much traffic. And I just don't feel it's safe. Another thing I was going to ask is, do you, for the person that's wants to open the food truck, do you have bathroom facilities in
Yes.
your place? Okay, all right, because
Yes.
you didn't really say that. And if you did have picnic tables, that would also, people would sit down and then they'd have to use the bathroom. I would hate to see someone try to relieve themselves in the little woods over there.
I would too.
I don't know. And the other thing I guess that I wanted to bring up, isn't that a contaminated site?
isn't.
From the oil spill?
It is
From
not. The planning board has the paperwork for that.
Okay. Well, I guess that's what I wanted to say, that, every single weekend here, there's always that stop sign that gets knocked down or the barrel that's there. You can check with DPW how many times they have to replace that stop sign because there's always an accident. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I know we had food trucks at the center of town this summer. Wouldn't that be something that maybe somewhere else? I don't know. Again, I just think it's a really busy intersection and very dangerous. And that's what I'd like to say.
I think we can fully understand, the traffic concerns on this, and I don't know. I've got to take maybe just a little different view of this in that without that food truck there, that is still pretty much what do I want to call it? It's a business type of, let's say, structure. So would this food truck going in there be any worse than some other business that might open up in that building that exists?
Well, I think, well, maybe if that was going to happen, then shouldn't there be a traffic light there? I mean, you know,
That's-
traffic backs up here as it is. It's way in front of my house sometimes. And there's no light there. I don't know, maybe that would be something to research. I don't know.
District 3 should have some information on that, and it's something worthwhile bringing up to the DPW, to Joe Buckley.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but why is it in the back of the report, in the recommendation, it says the site is currently out of compliance with the MCP. The site, and they say at this particular time when this thing was written, and possible for cost to, but it is not impossible for cost to exceed $100,000 if remediation activities are required. So yes, there is a 21E problem there. They had problems across the street from it, and I believe it's all up to the gentleman that's putting the food truck in there. He said he's bringing the water in and taking out the waste, so it's up to him.
So, okay. Any other questions, comments? Dave, do you have any kind of a wrap up on this?
Yeah, I just asked the board that before you close this hearing or as part of this proceeding, is that we would just be looking to get a motion to accept the waivers as requested. And I'm wondering if the board would like to put any other conditions on this, such as for time or anything else like that.
Yeah, I guess, you know, one particular thing that I would think of is if we were to grant this site plan approval, that we would say give it a 1-year trial period and then do an additional review to just see what the effect is. And Dave, you're talking about going individually through the waivers?
No, I think that the board has the requested waivers in the packet. I think it's the applicant indicates what he's looking for a waiver from. So I suppose you could just take the waivers as a package, just acknowledge the request, and just vote them collectively. So he's basically looking for waivers from attachment 1 of the application relative to access, relative to landscaping, and then the attachment number 2 that pertains to, let's see here, pertains to the building plans. The building plan has requirements for dimensions and so forth and so on.
Okay. So that would all be, if we do this in a motion to approve site plan.
Yep, and also I would request that the board just approve this per the plan submitted tonight, that any modifications to the plan would require the applicant to come back before the board.
Okay, anybody else, anywhere, anything?
I actually have one more question. I'm sorry. So with this approval, are we going to remove the buses so that the additional parking is there, or there's still the question of it's like it'll be 3 different uses for that property? So if the additional parking is indicated on the plan, does that mean that the buses will no longer be there and the additional parking would be there? So behind the residence, there's now 6 buses parked.
Okay, Mark, I've got to ask you that one.
Sure. The buses were new to me. I had no idea at the time. They weren't there when I turned in the plans. I
Okay,
know the buses leave in the spring. Once school is over, the buses go somewhere else. They don't stay there for the year. And I know behind the unoccupied garage right now, because it is unoccupied, there'll be spots there that the buses don't take up.
they actually do park behind the garage currently.
All right,
There's 4 in the back and then there's 2 behind the garage.
Okay, I usually don't, I haven't seen them all there at the same time.
Right.
And the other
Right.
thing is the oil truck too. The oil truck will be moved because I feel that oil truck blocks a lot of the intersection and shouldn't be there.
Correct.
So I'll talk to the owner, and I know
Okay.
the truck is there just for advertising, so I think they can move that somewhere
Okay.
else on.
In addition to the buses, though, there's also from the bus drivers, there's also cars that park along the side of Pleasantdale.
Yeah, I
Want to
wish
be
I,
aware of.
I wish I could control that too, and I cannot.
Right.
But I want you all to know that the minute we start talking about a light there or something, I'm all for it. I'm all for any safety things we can add to that. Because I know about the intersection because I was a firefighter for 33 years in the town of Rutland. So I understand the problems there. And that's why we have a lot of the protection at the corner. And we're looking to upgrade that through the state. And that just takes a little bit longer. But believe me, it's on my mind.
Yeah. Well, just from history that I've seen, your chances of getting a real traffic light at that intersection are somewhere between slim and non-existent.
Right.
We can't even get one in the center of town.
Or on 68 in Wachusett. I mean,
Yeah.
look how many accidents happen on that highway.
Yeah. It's just the requirements that the state set for installing a traffic light are ridiculous. I think they must have been drawn up when it was nothing but horse and buggies.
Norm, can we put in part of the conditions just to satisfy the neighbor that that oil truck has to be moved out of the entranceway for the food truck?
Just so you understand, I can't control where that. You'd have to talk to the owner of. I will talk to the owner of the property, but I can't control where the truck is going to be.
Well, if it's at the entrance, it's a problem.
Right, and that's why I'm going to ask him to move it, and just, and I think he'll understand, and I don't think there's going to be a problem, but I just want you to know I can't force him, and then we would have a, but I don't see a problem. I think I'm making myself a problem here, and I think he'll move it without a problem. I don't see it to be a problem, and I'm going to ask nicely,
Is that oil truck being parked in a position where you say the entrances cannot be used?
No, well, right now, yes, he parks it where those barrels are. He parks it up front there so people can see it. He's advertising. Mm-hmm. But he can't park it down past near the grassy lawn area by the mailbox, and there shouldn't be a problem at all there. And I don't think he'll have a problem. I think he'll be seen better.
Okay. And well, what I'm just saying is, if we grant this site plan approval with the provision that it must conform to the submitted site plan.
Absolutely. I'm good with that, Norm.
Then that kind of says, hey, that oil truck's got to go.
Yeah. I'm fine with that, Norm.
Same here. And some of my transportation meetings that I attend, Central Mass Regional Planning, this will come up. The more they get bugged about stuff, the more they might look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Dick, I don't know enough about the buses, but isn't the bus company that Wachusett Regional is using is off of 68? Am I wrong in that?
I'm sure it's the same company.
Then why are they parking their buses over here is my problem.
They haven't got enough room for them over there.
Oh, that sounds to me like that's a Wachusett school problem.
Well, a bus company problem at the least.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
sure
separate entity.
I'm also sure the landowner is probably charging them some rent.
Oh, I get that, Norm. I do. It's it's one of those things where, anyhow, it's a moot point. Just
Uh, I guess, you know, my, you know, I'm still, I have to try to keep in my mind, you know, my vision of this place. And I really have my doubts about the need for that additional parking.
yeah, I agree.
You know,
I agree also, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that there would be some there.
yeah,
And at the time we planned it, before the school buses, there was.
yeah. Well, I mean, unless everything is totally out of scale here, which I don't think it is.
No.
So, okay.
I can hear
Anything
Maddie
else?
Smith liking it already.
You what?
I hear Maddie Smith, not Maddie Smith, Mrs. Fay Esso, gas station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, way back when.
That's what it was, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Esso gas station.
And if you look on oh God, Dick, help me out. What we're working on for with the CMRPC.
Yeah. Wasn't the steering committee website?
Steering committee. Yeah, we've got one of the pictures is the old Esso station.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
On the website.
Mhm. Okay, we have any further comments, questions, discussion?
I've been sitting here, this is Marilyn, I've been sitting here looking at the site plan that's up on the screen, and I'm wondering if you ever thought about having people enter on the other side of that, or even moving your trailer down a little bit off towards the back of the lot. Seems like you have people giving their orders and standing by the truck, and you've got the cars entering at the same spot, so.
Right, I put the trailer there is because I could put the trailer on the back of the lot, but then we would have to run off with a generator.
No, I just mean move it down a little bit on the side of that building. And I'm looking over between the unoccupied garage and the building where you're renting space. And it seems like there's more room there to have cars enter.
Yeah, it's 30 feet wide in between the two buildings. And then it narrows because of the lawn in front of the residence. So it becomes very tight back there.
Okay. My concern is that you have your cars entering right in the area, at least on this drawing, right in the area where people are going to be standing, waiting for their food and putting in their orders.
Well, might need to put up a couple of cones or something like that.
It'll be very cordoned off. And the reason why on the front of the building was just so people could see it.
Right. I'm not talking about moving it very far, but even a feet back would give people a little more space. Just something to think about.
Okay.
Look, to me, the service window is on the other side of the entrance there, though.
Oh, okay. So where are the people going to be ordering and picking up food?
Right to the front. There's a back service window, but it's more of a ventilation during the summer because it gets very hot in there.
Oh, okay.
But it'll be the one that's the service window that faces the park
The road.
Packed gravel, yeah, and the road, yes.
That's the main service window.
Yeah.
Okay. Just, so I say, something to think about. See how it works out when you get it set up.
Oh, absolutely, especially when the snow's gone too. That'll help us a lot more.
Right.
Okay, do we have anything further from anybody?
Yes, I would like to say one more thing. Norm, you mentioned that in granting the permit, you would revisit it within a year. Now, would that be included in the language of the permit? Or would that be just on sort of like an agenda or?
Oh, it would be part of the permit if we do that.
Okay, okay. That's all.
So somehow or other, I think there's already some pretty reasonable agreement that would be a part of it. If hey, we haven't decided whether we're going to approve this yet or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and Norm, there's other people too, just for the public, that has to, go and check this out. I mean, Seth from the fire has to make sure the propane for the NFPA is correct. The Board of Health has to do checks on this. So it's not just the planning board that will have the final, say during operation. There's still other people that have to bless this too.
Yeah.
I have a Board of Health permit. He'll just stop by to check temperatures and stuff like that.
Yeah, but what I was trying to get out to the public is there's other boards that are involved in this food truck too. It's just not the planning board. That's all I was trying to do, is get general information out.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Like I say, I know certainly there are traffic concerns here, and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I also just have to have a concern of, what has now been basically an abandoned property, for several years. I'm going to say at least that it's just, that's not a nice thing to have either. So.
It'll be good to get another business here in town. So.
Mhm. Hey, it could be a McDonald's. Okay. Do we have anything further?
Norm, motion to close the hearing.
Okay.
Oh,
Do
wait, Norm, I'm sorry if I can stop you. I think Dave said we first need to make a motion to accept the waivers as requested, if I'm correct, before we close it.
I mean, the waivers can be granted after. Yes, I would prefer to take it before you actually close the hearing, just to acknowledge the waivers first. Although you could do it the other way as long as you take some action on it.
Yeah.
I can rephrase that, Norman. Motion to approve waivers and as they've been presented to us in the application.
Okay, we'll do it this way. I'm not sure. I don't think it makes that much difference, but I don't think we normally do that still within a meeting or within a public hearing, but that doesn't make any difference. Okay, I'll accept the motion. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion to accept the waivers as presented? Hearing none, then roll call vote. Sean?
I'm going to abstain from this decision.
Okay. Marilyn?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Yes, aye.
Okay. And Norm, aye. So we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Okay. Now, Tim, back to your motion to.
Motion to close the hearing.
Okay. And do I have a second on that one? Any discussion on closing the hearing? Hearing none. Then once again, roll call vote. Marilyn?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Sean?
Abstained.
Abstain. And Norm, aye.
And Dick, aye.
Where's Dick? Where's Dick? It's getting late. Sorry, folks.
I'm exhausted too.
Okay. Are we ready to decide on the site plan approval?
Norm, when we make a motion to site plan approval, do we have to add in any, special conditions, which is like we talked about, the revisit this site plan review in a year? Should that be included in the motion?
I think we should.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the site plan review with the special condition that we will revisit or review the site plan review 12 months from, we'll just say a year from
The approval date.
Yeah, approval date. Thanks.
Okay.
And can we also get the condition as per the plan?
As per the plan, the sketch plan that was submitted with the application.
In other words, the site plan will be constructed according to the plan submitted, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Tamika, did you get my babble?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Second that.
But wait a minute, before we leave it, let's just take another minute to think about, are there any other special conditions that we might want to put in here?
The only thing, Norm, I think I would include, maybe not with the conditions, but as part of the write-up, was the tie bond report. Reference it to make sure there's any questions come up on this site plan review, that we've referenced this environmental report.
Yeah. The other thing is that I don't think there's been anything brought up that indicates that that's going to come into play in any way, shape, or form.
I know.
You know, they're not tapping into anything other than electricity.
But what if the owner comes in and starts messing around?
So
I could just on that point really quickly. So as a matter of course, we identify the information that was submitted with the application. We don't necessarily comment on it, but we just indicate that we received certain documents, X, Y, and Z, and that was one of them. But we're not going to comment on it per se. If anybody wants to comment on it, I think people can look to the minutes.
And Dave, that would be in the file, correct? So if anybody ever need to look anything up, it's at least in the file.
It's part of the application, that's correct.
Okay, good enough. I'm fine with that then.
There's just another thing. I don't want to do this, but I've got to mention it. Do we want to put any condition on hours of operation?
Well, right now the town has isn't 7 to 8 or something like that for their noise ordinance.
Yeah, but this is a restaurant.
The town doesn't have a noise ordinance.
No, we
I
don't.
thought.
Oh,
No,
we
we
don't.
don't. There's no sound bylaw, noise bylaw in town.
Yeah. I don't think we need to be, that's my own personal opinion.
Well, let me rephrase it. Maybe not noise ordinance, but don't we have an operational part of the bylaw for businesses?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
No, yeah, business can run 24/7 here in the town of Rutland.
I think you're wrong. I'm gonna go looking, but I'm not gonna argue.
Well, look at Honey Farms. Tim. Honey Farms runs 24/7.
No, but
they're not in a
noise condition that we had to make a bylaw on when they were doing asphalt and bringing it in and dumping it.
We were going to, we never got to it.
No, it never did.
Okay, Marilyn, you're fired.
All right.
No sound ordinance. No. I know that there is like above the tavern, since that is a dual use, because there's apartments above there. They have I don't think it's a part of the bylaw, but it's like an agreement that they don't that like no bands can come in there after 9. Music stops at 9, I believe. But as far as the sound ordinance here in town or a work limit, town doesn't have one.
Right. Okay. I'm getting the feeling that nobody is really interested in any kind of hours limitation.
Oh.
No. Okay. Good. Makes it a
How
little.
about lighting that would bother residences, since most of our businesses don't have close residents?
There will be security lighting off the building. So
But that's already there.
Yeah.
So you're not putting up lighting for the whole area if you're open until 7 in the winter?
and that's, yeah, and we got to really place it we're really thinking about that lighting also because we don't want to cause traffic problems. We don't want to
Right.
blind, you know, so that'll be in big consideration before we do anything like that.
Okay, you use a low. Instead
They
of,
have low voltage indirect lighting at the building, not flooding an area with
right. That's what I was thinking. Not big spotlights that flood the.
correct.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm satisfied, Norm.
Okay, everybody happy with those conditions?
Yep.
Okay, Dick, you sounded like you were ready to second the motion.
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? This is a motion to grant site plan approval with conditions. I'm hearing silence. Okay, roll call vote. Marilyn,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Sean,
Abstain.
and Tim,
Aye.
Norm, aye. The motion carries. It sounds like Still Four Corners is going to maybe get a little competition.
Let's hope so. Thank you all very much.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll have to tell my relative. Oh, geez. All right.
Okay, let's see. How have I messed up all of my stuff? Okay, back to
A&Rs.
None.
yes. Item 5, A&Rs, none. Number 6, Maple Hill Estates. I believe we have a report from Quinn that basically says there's nothing going on.
Except house construction.
Yeah. Anybody, any comments or thoughts about Maple Hill?
No.
Okay. Then we have Brice Lemon. All kinds of stuff here. Let me see. Let me just. Yeah. Okay. We do have a Quinn report. First of all, on Brice Lemon, and once again, it appears that they're not really doing too much of anything. I would say right at this point of time, Mr. Blair is concentrating on Bear Hill 2, which he is doing plenty. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I hear the trucks up there, Norm. I'm just curious of what they're doing.
Connecting, aren't they?
Well, I would say they are roughing in the road. They have how do I want to describe it? They have definitely significantly changed the topography of the lot directly across from the driveway that used to come down from the top of Bear Hill. I don't know how many 100 yards of fill they have moved into that now, but
Are you talking, Norm, Mr. Michelonis's old property?
yeah, you know, the old Michelonis Heli driveway.
Yeah. I remember. It almost was the Narwhal driveway.
Okay. The lot on Brittenell Drive that is directly opposite that.
Yeah.
Okay, now it has hundreds, thousands of yards of fill.
That's why I hear that truck. So they're banging the truck gate all day that I hear outside my house. Oh,
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been hearing that for like the last week.
Yeah. There's gonna be another house with a cliff for a backyard.
Ah, well. I'm going to quote Sean, buyer beware.
Yeah. Mhm.
And if you're over 75 or watch out when you walk out the back door.
You better believe it.
It's not, Dick, it's not the drop, it's the stop that'll get you.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Sudden stop at the bottom. Anybody, any questions, comments on the Quinn report on Brice Leonard?
No.
Nope.
At the moment, no. Just I gotta take another site walk over there when the weather gets a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the snow is gone and so forth. Okay, we have a copy of subdivision control agreement and partial release of covenants for phase 3.
Yeah, before we do that, Norm, that plan for the road that we were going to do the write-up on, I was talking with David when I was up there today, and it seems like that plan's changed from the one we approved. Should we reapprove these, even though the road really hasn't changed, the lot sizes have changed, which means the drawings changed. Should we officially do a vote to approve that latest drawing that came in?
I'm finding it very, very difficult to, I guess I'm going to say, number one, read it.
What he changed from what I could gather between the old and the new is he moved the lot lines and changed the lot sizes, and that's about it. But it is different.
Yeah, it's different, but now if you look at the revision, okay, the one that has all of the cut and fill lines and the topo.
Yeah.
The latest revision on that was 2/6 or 2/5/2020.
Dave, can you scroll down a little bit? Let me see what that one is. What's the date on that? 3/1.
Yeah.
All right, so just to go back, so right here, this plan here is the plan that was approved on the 23rd as part of the phase 3 roadway modification. So what was changed on that, what was approved there was an amendment or modification of the subdivision plan to alter the road layout. Now, that plan showed the lots as well as the road modification. So this is what was approved on the 23rd. I can zoom in.
Yeah.
Now, and then this is the final revision of that from up above, which was dated March 1st. And this shows modification to the lot size. It's a small change, but it's a change all the same.
And all I was getting, Norm, is that I think just to make it legitimate, since this drawing that Dave has up now going to actually go into the set, that we should possibly vote on this revision 5.
Right, I'm glad you're mentioning that. So to add to this, the applicant brought up a Mylar that is part of the registry of deeds set that's on record. So we're going to be looking at the Mylar endorsed after the decision appeal period ends. So this becomes the plan of record if the board agrees that it should be the plan of record. Otherwise, the plan of record is this one right here. Because what's here was submitted after the fact, but it's de minimis changes. So we're looking to know how the board wants to handle this.
It's, at least to me, it's kind of one of these things where when we approve the changes to the roadway, which meant we approved the changes to the right-of-way of the roadway, we also pretty much de facto approved those changes to the lots. Otherwise, what you would end up with is, it would be this, little tiny thin strip in front of all of those lots that's kind of in no man's land.
I agree. It's like it's a butterfly effect.
Yeah, that's my take on it. As far as a vote to accept this new page of the plan, yeah, I think it would be a good idea to do so. But it's it. I don't think we can make it a new approval. If you approve something once, now if you want to approve something again, you got to go through the whole process again.
Right, I don't think it's not a new approval. What it is, it's agreeing that the plan changes here are de minimis as compared with the main approval above, because there's nothing happening here that's different than what is happening here. The only change is with respect to some of the lot area.
And Norm, all I was saying is I just basically wanted to get it on record that I don't know if it's a vote or if it's everybody agreeing to, whatever it is, just get it in the minutes that the 3-1 drawing is what the planning board is agreeing, which will be the set of record for the subdivision. Maybe that's a better way of saying it.
So, we could very well just vote to accept that plan.
Or should we vote to accept sheet 3 of 13 as a document of record for the Brice Estate subdivision? I don't know.
That sounds like some pretty good words to me.
Tamika, I don't think I can repeat that.
You got to. I wasn't paying that close of attention. I wasn't ready for the motion.
I guess I'll make a motion to accept sheet 2 of 13 as of 3/1 of 2021 as the document of record for the Brice Estate subdivision.
Second that.
Sounds good to me. Do we have any discussion on that? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Marilyn?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Norm? Aye. Okay. That one out of the way. On to the subdivision control agreement. I guess my major question on this one is, does anybody think we need to send this out for legal review?
Oh boy.
The alternative, and I'm going to make an enemy here, would be to have Dave review this agreement, comparing it to the control agreements for phase 1 and or phase 2 to see if there are any discrepancies.
I've already taken a look at that, and that is pretty much verbatim, with the exception of the referred to plan here, which is the amended plan that the board just voted to accept as a plan of record. Other than that, the only change is the book and page references and the amount of the bond agreement matches up to the revised bond that Quinn Engineering came up with. And that the only other difference are the lots that are being referred to, which would be the lots in question. Other than that, it's verbatim from phase 2.
Okay, then I guess I didn't make an enemy.
The question to you, Norm.
Yep.
Should you have in here that there's 10% going to be held for 1 year after acceptance?
Yeah, I didn't see that, and that's typically what we do, right?
It's not in phase two.
Well, it's in our subdivision regs, isn't it? That we typically hold 10% for 1 year on the road.
Right.
Correct.
So as long as it's in the regs,
All right.
But wouldn't you have it here too?
I'm not saying you can't. I don't think it's necessary. Let me see.
What about right down, what Dave's got up right now, isn't there, upon completion of the work or defined portion, oh, you just went too fast. You zipped by. Right there in that last paragraph, a completion of work or defined portion of their developer in accordance with covenants, conditions, agreements, blah, 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 as evidenced by a certificate of completion set forth, the interest of the town in such portion of the retained funds correspond to such work shall be released. But it doesn't give a time. That's the only problem I've got right there. But it talks about agreements. So would that go back to our subdivision bylaw?
I'd even go to the
Okay, there's C, the subdivision control.
right, and D, more particularly D.
Yeah.
And it would be, pursuant to all covenants, conditions, agreements, terms, and provisions contained in the town of Rutland's rules and regulations.
And then, and this is for phase one, correct?
3.
3, okay. So we can build in phase 3. Yeah, I guess I'm okay. Can we put a line in here that phase 3 and phase 1 and 2, and phase 3 must be connected to the other phases roads?
Oh no, 2 dead ends.
No, don't you even start with that. I'll have the fire chief hanging me by my toes.
Okay, the other thing that I'm definitely in some ways I'm losing it. That I just don't understand. This thing starts out that this is an agreement between Brice Estate, the hometown bank, and the town of Rutland. Correct?
What do we, okay, yeah.
I only see one signature on this whole document.
No, what you have there, you have the relevant parts of the document. I deliberately did not include the other signature sheets. We have a total of 3 signature sheets, one for the bank, one for the board, one for the developer. I did not include, I just wanted to include the main text that was to be reviewed.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we have the actual working document is here with the wet signatures.
Okay. And that has all the blanks filled in?
It has spaces reserved for the endorsement by the members of the planning board, of which only one signature is required to be notarized. The other signatures are not.
Okay.
It's a majority of the planning board that signatures are required from.
Well, I'm just, like I say, I'm just looking at what's in front of me. It starts out, agreement made this blank day of March. When does that get filled in? I don't know, maybe it doesn't make any difference, I guess, at that.
Well, in the case of phase two, the number, the day was drawn in by hand.
Yeah,
I believe, I don't know that that's not bad practice. It was just, that was filled in by hand after all the signatures have been obtained.
and I don't have any trouble with that. It just, because there's other blanks that need to be filled in. There's a couple of places, book and plan numbers, are left out. And
And the reason why the book and page are left out is because this plan here is subject to first a decision being drafted that captures the amendments and modifications to the subdivision that was approved last time. So that decision has to be written, and then the appeal period has to run, and then the plan gets recorded only after the decision and the appeal period is run. So this is information that can't be put in now because it's dependent on an action that has to happen first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Anybody have any trouble with accepting this subdivision control agreement?
No, I guess not.
Oh, go back up one more page. Let me see that. So, okay. Please notarize this. All right. Does this have, and Dave, this is maybe where I'm not sure of, does this, in this partial release of covenant, does it have anywhere in here talking about a homeowner's agreement, or is that required?
This release of covenant, partial release, like the other ones, doesn't reference the homeowner's agreement on here. Nope.
Should it? I guess maybe that should have been my question.
Well, if we want to get rid of homeowners agreement, no.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we can't on this one because it was part of the subdivision.
Original.
Yeah. I'm just asking, just from a standpoint of what we've already been through with the phase one homeowners of.
Yeah, but the homeowner's agreement is a term of the special permit. This is the subdivision. This applies to the lots themselves as the lots are shown on the subdivision plan.
Okay.
The homeowner's agreement was not part of the subdivision, it was part of the special permit.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't fit in here.
Okay. I'm just asking. I'm not going either way. I'm just trying to ask questions because we talk about the subdivision control agreement, and part of our subdivision regulations is a homeowner's agreement.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason.
The other side of this, the homeowners are not going to see this anyway.
That's true. You got a good point, Norm. Sorry. You got a good point.
So.
All right.
Okay. Kind of tied in with this is another one-page thing, the partial release of covenant. And again, I'm going to assume that this is pretty much the same as it was for phase one and phase two. Anybody have any problems with this one?
No.
Okay. No comment, nothing. Do I hear a motion to accept the subdivision control agreement and release of covenant for phase three?
I'll make a motion to, so moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
All the lots numbers have been verified, correct?
Dave?
I did not verify the numbers, but these numbers that are here,
Yep.
the same numbers that are here. And this was prepared by the applicant's attorney.
Okay.
I will take a quick look at it tomorrow, but I'm not sure that I'm going to find any issues.
All right, I just want to make sure, that's all.
It might not be just a bad idea. You remember Vista Circle, Dave?
Yeah, that was one of the Gango subdivisions from 2000.
Yeah. So, like I say, it might not be a bad idea to just take a good look. Okay, any other discussion? We didn't vote on this, right? No.
Not yet.
You say it's getting late. Okay, roll call vote. Marilyn,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Norm, aye. Okay, what is next? I lost my agenda.
Zoning change?
Are we on 10?
No, we just did 12.
Yeah, you're on 10.
There we go. Okay. Number 10, Brice Lemon. Review decision. Did you ever get a chance to finish that up, Dave?
I don't have that. I was actually waiting on the board just to validate that the plan for 3-1 is the plan of record.
Okay.
This will be a bare decision, just indicating the specific modifications to this subdivision. So I should be able to get, I'll have that ready for the next meeting.
Okay. Okay. Number 11, Brice Lemon Subdivision, Phase 1 Street Acceptance Recommendation. This one gives me headaches.
Yeah, Norm, you and me both. Because isn't part of our little issue, is that phase 1 or phase 2 with our Rapid River Disney ride?
It's phase 2.
Phase 2.
That's phase 2. Okay.
That's actually phase 2.
If I could just jump in on this one real quick, and this item is not ready for tonight. We just put this on here. Should the applicant have been ready for tonight, then it's on the agenda so that the board can have a meeting to take action on the street acceptance. We expect this will be ready for the next meeting. Today, we did receive the final as-built, and we received responses to the Quinn Engineering memo regarding what was outstanding on the street acceptance. That memo is to be reviewed by Quinn with a recommendation made for the 23rd for the next meeting.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Wasn't that also where the pump station was, the right of way or how to get in there? He had
Yes.
to get that straightened out.
I believe so. I didn't have a chance to look at the plans. They came in very late today.
Yeah.
All right. That's for next meeting. Good. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Number 12. Revision to subdivision regulations. This is kind of interesting because I honestly did not 100% remember where we left this at our last meeting, and then in reading over minutes, it kind of jogged my memory that we were going to have Carl draw up a new cross-section for us so we could take a look.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we have not gotten that, right?
No, that is something that you and I talked about yesterday. So I'll be getting that request out to Carl tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. We can just keep it on for next meeting, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, good.
I do see a hand raised, Norm. I don't know if you see it. One of the Brice Lemon residents.
Okay, someone would like to speak?
Thanks. Hi, Norm. Steve Maintainus. Worked with you and Tim when you guys walked the subdivision. Just had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything to do with easements regarding like National Grid and folks like that that come in?
No.
No. That's
no. All right. I just had a question. That's all.
Let me give
if you guys don't have anything to do with it. So
as an Eversource employee who deals with this now all the time on the gas side, there's specific people at the utilities that you can get in contact with that are in charge of real estate and all that issues that you can get questions answered by. And I presume National Grid has the same that Eversource has.
All right, great. Thanks, guys.
Not a problem.
Okay.
13.
13, proposed zoning changes, Rutland Plaza and special permit findings. So exactly where are we at? I guess we'll start out with Rutland Plaza.
Right, so, this is picking up from discussion from last time. I've requested that the proponent provide the map that shows the proposed zoning. I'm still waiting for that map. The the special permit is basically a strike through. That can be put together pretty quickly. I think we're looking to have a hearing on April 13th. I think we're looking to have a hearing for April 13th on these, the public hearing to consider the zoning changes. Unless you wanted to take it at the second meeting in April.
If you think we'll have everything on board.
Norm, I guess I'm going to give you my opinion, and I guess I can save it for the hearing, but I am not comfortable with having one facility in Rutland having two zoning. It's one or the other. We have no other areas in town that zoned for two different sections. And I do not want to make a precedent out of this area. It's either TC2 or it's business. Take a choice. That's my opinion.
I agree with you 100% on that one.
So this George asking for two, Norm, I'm not buying into it. So
how do the rest of you feel?
I agree.
Ambivalent on it. I mean, I don't see why. It is a business district to begin with. I just don't know the difference. My microphone is on, right? Yes. When the definition of industrial, I come from a mill town in Ohio, and I mean, when I think of industry, I think of steel mills. So I think of big, huge factories. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because there's nothing industrial down there now, but I gotta find out what does industrial really mean.
Well, Sean, I don't have a problem changing it from industrial / office. It's just George is asked to have two definitions of that property, business zoned and TC2 zone. And I'm saying pick one, you don't get both.
Yeah, but isn't TC2, but TC2 is business.
Yes,
see,
but
there's things that really need to be specifically identified on purpose here.
Well, that's in the TC2 bylaw and the business zone bylaw. That's what defines what they are.
Yeah.
And again, Norm, you guys can tell me I'm wrong, because our thought process when we did the TC in the village was we were mixing residential and business to help those center parts of town thrive. Other parts of the town that weren't part of this, town center or village districts could still be zoned as business because they're not part of the center part of town. So that's why we had two different, if you want to call it bylaws, the TCs in the village and then business, trying to get the best of both worlds in both bylaws on one parcel. I'm just not buying into. That's what I'm saying. I either pick one. If you want it business, I don't care if that little area wants to be zoned business, great. Then you don't get the advantage of the TC residential. You're a strictly business and you can't have any residential areas in there. Or pick the TC2 and you get the combination of it, but you get a little bit restriction on the type of business you can put in. So that's all I'm saying is pick one and stick with it. And that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Actually, if I could just indicate one thing to you. In the business district, an allowable use is any use permitted in a residence district.
Can you repeat that, please?
Right. So I just wanted to just indicate that in a business district, residential uses are allowed, as opposed to not being allowed. So residential uses are allowed in the TC district and are allowed in the business district.
That's correct.
Okay, well, still pick one. I don't want two definitions.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's kind of one of these things where, you know, there are these things called overlay districts. We have not gotten into them. That's, if we were to give it two different designations, that's essentially what we would be creating. And that is, to me, is just not good zoning to
Correct.
do something like that for one single parcel of land.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it for a whole section of town or something like that, you know, you could, you know, you can overlay solar facilities over,
Right.
you know, the R60 zone or something on this idea.
Norm, I wouldn't have a problem with that if suppose the RDIC was town property or it was somebody's own property. That section I could see maybe having an overlay because it's so big. It's 80 some acres.
Yeah.
But this little section in off the road, nah, I'm not buying it. No, sorry.
So,
but
again,
I am okay changing it from industrial office to either TC2 or not or business. I have no problem with that. I think it's conducive for the town to do that.
Yeah, I personally think that it was, in a way, kind of a mistake to not simply include it in the TC2 district.
Yeah.
When you come right down to it, it would have been better zoning if it had been included.
I think we were hoping somebody would a little industrial complex would go into Sims, and that didn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. Are we, for the most part, together on that?
Yes.
He can do it whichever he wants, but not more than one.
Yeah.
Correct.
Do we need, Norm, do we need to have you or David or somebody convey that to George and Clee?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. It says Rutland Plaza and special permit findings.
Oh, what was the special permit? I can't even remember.
Special permit findings. So currently in the zoning bylaw, there's about 23 different findings of fact that are needed to grant a special permit. In addition to specific findings required elsewhere in the bylaw, depending on the particular type of special permit request. What this would do would be to strike the 23 and consolidate those as 7 general findings of fact. I've seen this elsewhere where it's more of a modern practice, if you will, to reduce the number of findings and to go with general ones. So it'd be 7 general plus the specific ones that apply to the specific type of special permit. So it would cut down on the application size and cut down on the
that's right.
of the findings, because a lot of these are redundant. So
I remember, Dave, we were trying to simplify the process.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, we discussed this at the last meeting.
Yeah, we did.
I just kept this on as just a running item, pretty much just to touch base regarding the hearing date in April. And also now that we've gathered more information from this board regarding the light industrial, maybe me and Norm can discuss who the better messenger is on this item.
I say send Dick.
I say send Tamika.
Okay.
I'm out of steam.
No, I believe you have a hand up. I'm not quite sure why, but.
Well, I'm going to now speak as citizen Sean and not as a member of this board. in doing so as to not to convey any type of influence or anything, I'll go ahead and still turn off my camera. I did approach the town planner, Dave, Friday to speak on the topic of number 13, proposed zoning changes. Though he did have a specific issue, a specific listing under that topic, with the paragraph below, the listings of matters of those recently anticipated by the chair 48 hours before said meeting, which 48 hours I did come to Dave to talk about other proposed zoning changes. I didn't hear anything back with them. He said to me that he was going to talk with the chair. I also sent emails out to members of the planning board discussing different zoning bylaw changes.
Right, and just if I could just at this point, just address the issue of the notice. Generally speaking, if it's an emergency item, it could be taken with less than 48 hours of notice. The agenda had been posted by the time we had that conversation. There was no prior knowledge or request to put it on the agenda or to have any other particular discussion. So I did have the discussion as we discussed, and you did circulate the information to the board. So now I guess it's the board's prerogative to decide whether it wants to take this matter or not. So we did do these things that we discussed.
Yeah, except I'm just asking if it can be discussed. You talk about an emergency issue. The something like this will be we'll have to go through the town meeting, although that is in May. There's deadlines for citizens petitions to be submitted. So I think expedient discussion on this topic would classify it.
Okay. Okay. All of that aside, I'm going to allow some discussion on this. However, discussion only, with certainly no decisions. Okay.
Of course, and that's all I'm looking for is input. Yeah, I mean there is still some time to gain support. Either way, whether it's submitted by a citizen's petition, even if it's submitted by a citizen's petition, to have support from any of the boards in town, support or no support, it's going to be asked at the town meeting. So I'm just here to answer any questions and to lay out the idea of the topic, I guess. So yeah, I'm not looking for any decisions that will be made by the town. I'm just looking for discussion, and and you can make a support. You could do a support or non-support decision at the next meeting or with ample time. I believe citizens petitions will have to be submitted till April, but I can clarify that. I know with the town election, things have to be submitted on March 22nd. So I don't know if I got confused on that timeline or the warrant timeline. But as with the things that I sent, what we're looking here is to go over changes in the bylaw for the marijuana bylaw concerning zoning on areas that will give the opportunity to landowners here in town that could be classified as farms, and to allow a subsequent subsidized type of income to farms that it's not agricultural, but can still be used because of the land that is provided. Right now, in my opinion, as a citizen, the areas that were zoned for certain aspects, although they could fit the places in town, the zoned districts for businesses, are quite taken up. So to allow another business, and I'll give you an example, like the brewery that Buffalo Farm they did, um, allowed them to do a larger size operation that might not be would fit to say if they were to do it in town center or town center two, as where these are located. The things that I have, marijuana cultivator, project manufacturer, which both of those tie in under the same license, marijuana micro business. Micro business, which is a combination of both cultivator and manufacturer, but on a small scale, and as well as retailer, because it, to be a retailer, in order to grow it, manufacture it, and sell it all in one area, would be you need to have some changes to the bylaw, and these are types of a combination that would benefit in areas that have a larger piece of land, say a larger landowner. And I put some restrictions in there, as you saw, for the prohibitions restrictions that just so that any person in the R60 district can say, hey, I want to grow or sell marijuana on a commercial scale, because everybody's allowed to grow it in this town. Any resident is allowed to grow their 12 plants. It comes to a difference when by the state and they're obtaining a license to sell that. And so to create operation, the smallest operation an operation can have in the state of Massachusetts is 5,000 square feet. So not your normal homeowner isn't going to be able to accomplish that, especially when it comes to cultivation. The restrictions that I put, that the applicant would have to provide a total of 3 acres solely designated to the operation, and have buffers, which could be increased. Right now, I have 50 feet between any occupied structure. So that way, the R60 has a lot of undeveloped land that right now is solely residential, with the exception of home business operations. So the changes that I've written down and the reasons with them could help business owners, could help bring more businesses into town and give them a greater opportunity for locations to do so. Because right now, in reality, we're it's just it sets up a lot of limitations on some of these zoning issues. That as a citizen, that possibly couldn't have been brought up when the bylaw was being formed. So, on those who voted to allow it. Is there any questions on it?
So, so what you're proposing is essentially to use the R60 areas, 3 acres of the R60 areas, to set up a micro business that can grow, sell, and manufacture.
Yes, and that's basically it. And one of the other changes I did have that wasn't pertaining to those was to the town set a limit of the number of retail stores to only one. So with all business to enterprise and fairness to businesses, that gives the business that comes in so a monopoly in town. It's like saying, well, you could only have one restaurant in town. So business owners like that food truck, if the only business in town was Four Corners and no other restaurants were allowed in town, doesn't really seem fair to other businesses in the food industry to want to come set up shop in the town of Rutland.
John,
Yes,
another question.
sure.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but it's
No.
Is that in the state law, or would that require the changing the state law, or just the
No.
law?
No, it would just require a change in the town bylaw. Right now, the state says, with accordances to the liquor licenses, that if a town does allow marijuana to be sold in it, they have to the lowest amount that they can say stop. Okay, they have to have at least, according to their, they could put in a town. I was notified by the Cannabis Control Commission that if a town wanted to, they can have 100 stores come in. It's just that if the town did vote to allow the retail sale, the limitation is the amount of the percentage of the liquor licenses. So if we had, right now it's one, okay? We can't have zero, but we can have one. If we were to get another liquor license in it, the town would be mandated by state law to have another one. So you know what I mean? The town can put a limit on the amount that they can have, only in reverse. You know what I mean? They can't stop it, but
you
yeah,
can regulate it.
You can regulate it, yes. You could have, well, only the amount of liquor licenses. So unless the town was to go back and say, well, we vote not to have any marijuana in town, they can do that also. But if a town wanted to, they can have 100 stores, no matter what the amount of liquor licenses are. See, so it doesn't work that way. Limitation only says that, well, you have six limit, to 20% only applies to what you can put a stop to, not what you can have, what you can put a stop to. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's understood that way.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that again.
Yeah, Marilyn, I thought when we were doing the bylaw, and I was sitting in as many as I could, that we basically, for starting out, wanted to do the state gives us a percentage of marijuanas that we can do against our liquor licenses. And that was where we were going to start from. Not saying we can't change it, but that's what the town was comfortable with, if I remember right. Maybe I'm wrong. So I don't disagree with Sean. I just say at the time, that's where we wanted to be.
Right.
And if I remember the number, it was one. And that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of unfair, I think, for other businesses that would want to come into town. The whole idea to allow it to come into town and by the state was for towns to increase their revenue via taxes. So if a town would want businesses to come in, at least be fair to allow not to allow a business to have a monopoly of that business. So it would be like, let's cancel all restaurants in town and only have one.
No, Sean, and this is my opinion, Norm. I guess through you, I think because this is such a new industry to, at least to Rutland, me personally as a citizen, I would want to see that first business come in and to coin a phrase, work the problems out. You know,
yeah, I don't think that even that wouldn't be fair, in my opinion.
Well,
because you're still given opportunity. You're given sole opportunity only to one entity, and that still creates a monopoly.
but if I've got
Because
two
they,
businesses that have never been in Rutland ever been done before, and I've got to police both of them. We don't have the people to do it for
okay,
town
but see, you
services.
don't. No, see, that's where I don't mean to cut you off, but that's where you're mistaken. By law, you don't. It's not a police issue. Okay, the towns aren't mandated to have police enforcement in this industry. They're just, it's a recommendation. So it's something that's it's not a requirement by law, put it that way. So
I get
you're
that.
not really not you're not mandating it.
I'd just like to kind of note that that only applies to retail establishments.
Yes, it only applies to retail establishments because
Right.
the town does allow more of the other industries.
Yeah.
So
Sean?
if another cultivator wanted to come in or another testing facility, as long as it doesn't stop it. But see, if another retailer wants to come in, it does. And we're not asking to allow 100. We're just allowed to have someone, another competition to come in, so that you can say that you're not giving favor just to one. That we're trying to stop monopolies, and that's the sole idea of it.
Sean,
And to bring further tax revenue into the town, because where the major taxes come from are retail. The rest of the businesses from cultivation and all that, they don't have to have that 3% tax applied to them because it's not a retail tax.
Sean?
Yes.
I know that the industry is in the state has been, and I know that the the marijuana commission is changing their laws all the time
Every day.
And I'm wondering if I wanted to make that point. And my other question is if you know of any other, the people or other towns that are doing this, it would be very helpful, I think, to have the references on that.
Well, personally, I haven't seen any town that just allows to have one come in because.
Oh, no, I mean this type of business.
Well, okay. So, what's your question again?
Well, I wanted to make the point that the regulations and the business is changing very rapidly, and
yes,
it's got good time to have this discussion. My question is, you're talking about a facility that's going to grow, manufacture, and sell it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
There are throughout the state there are that is allowed.
I think it would be very helpful to have some information on who's doing, who exactly what it is and who's doing it. I know when we were working on the law originally that for the town, that was very helpful to have something that you can say, well, they're doing this over here and they have, these are the problems they've encountered, but there really is, they really haven't had any trouble, that kind of thing.
Well,
Marilyn, that's what I was going to say. And Sean, I personally don't see it, but in the common, there's a stigma that comes with any type of recreational drug and children and parents. So there's a stigma to overcome, and that's what I think you're going to be fighting against. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the stigma doesn't apply to the letter of the law, though.
It does if you try to get it passed in town meeting.
No, to that point, yes, because this will have to go through the townspeople.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's
Yeah.
Sean, I just want to make one more comment.
Okay.
That's what I was, trying to say. And even getting the marijuana, the whole thing passed initially was a sales job. It's not, you really have to sell your product and your idea and make it clear that other people have been successful doing it.
Oh, it's a multi-billion successful operation in the towns that, I mean, look at Leicester, how much money they brought in. Um, Gardner, they have several retails. I mean, it when it comes to success, it's it's pretty much a bandwagon right now.
Right. But I just mean you have to have something that shows that.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what you're asking to see. The changes that I made to the zoning, to the bylaw, and the reasons that I give. What more are the reasons why we're the
But
main idea is to allow it? Is to
Sean, what she's
allow.
getting at, and I know this from my world in engineering and dealing with customers, is you got to have a used car salesman up there with a great presentation to get everybody to understand what you're trying to do.
Oh yeah, I mean it's. I understand about educating the public. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
and that would be done during the meeting. I mean that's solely on me. It,
Marilyn.
you know,
Marilyn. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
no, and I do appreciate the advice totally. It's but right but what the information I'm trying to, even though the advice is good, it's not pertaining. It's not pertaining to the subject at whole. I mean, I appreciate it, but we're talking about. Um, Now, if you think that I need to sell it more to the board in order to get their support, I could
Well, I
try to
think
find some numbers like on the total on their different towns' fiscal numbers that having more than one shop uh, brings in. I mean, we all know when you have just one, one thing happening, it's not fair business.
not necessarily all the fiscal numbers, but also exactly what you want to do. What exactly what your business is going to look like. This
Well, I'm not talking about my business.
your
No,
business.
This isn't.
No, but it's
just
no. I
pertaining
know
to.
it's not your business. I'm using that as a general word, but
Yeah,
what it's going to look
I'm looking to
like.
change. What I'm looking to do though is to change the bylaw. So what you're asking of me, and with all due respect, doesn't really apply.
Actually, it does, because you're going to have to sell people on why they want to change the bylaw that's already in place. And I think
Yeah,
that's
and my selling point is not to create a monopoly, and to allow the opportunity for of increasing the areas that businesses can come into the town. And that's, do you want more business or do you want more? In the R60 area, there's a lot of open land. Now, the majority of that land is owned, I would say, by farmers. Dick, you being a farmer, do you have a lot of open land? I mean, you're the majority of the landowners, I'd say, in town are either the developers or farms. The developers, I wouldn't want to see them to build more homes, but I wouldn't want to see the farmland, the landowners who happen to be farmers and using that land. I would like to see them be able to use cannabis as a subsidence, as a source of income that right now they're not zoned to do. And that's my whole selling point. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's a good
I'm not.
one.
Yeah, I don't care who comes in and does it. I just want to give everybody equal opportunity and the space to do it, and to keep, the the look of this town, which is a farming community, to give those who do farm something else to make money from, which that they don't right now, because the state doesn't deem this agriculture. So with the agricultural accessory bylaw, a farmer couldn't come in and say like, well, I'd like to grow cannabis. Well, I'm sorry, you're not zoned for it. Not that, and I understand that you want to use it as an accessory to your agriculture, but the state doesn't deem it agriculture. And since the state doesn't do that and the town doesn't zone it for it, you're out of luck. And I just think that's very unfortunate that this town is doing that. And as you stated before, Marilyn and Tim, as you as well, when all this was being written, I don't really believe they had a full understanding on what the impact of this product and would do for bringing the income to towns.
Right, I think that's a good point, and I think it's evolving like anything does. What I think the last part of your presentation there was very good. That a good.
Yeah, that's my main selling point was
right.
Is to allow really the farmers to give the opportunity for farmers.
Sean, all I was trying to do is these type of bylaws come up in May town meeting. They won't come up in the fall. And your audience is going to be parents that are there for the school budget, unless you do it after that. Then you got a great chance of getting it passed because everybody leaves.
Yeah.
The farmers will be left.
Yeah, the only one will be left is farmers and elected officials and appointed officials. But that's all I was trying to do is give you a heads up on your audience of where to, how to do a presentation, because that's one of the key selling points, at least I've learned as a project engineer and proposal, my selling points to my audience.
Well, here's a selling point to those who have children. If we don't bring businesses, more industries to come into the town, your taxes are going to increase.
No. We're going to cut town services. That's where the money will come from.
Well, yeah. But also your taxes will come in. Do you want more homes or do you want businesses? And, if I got mouths to feed, I don't want I got mouths to feed and take care of. I don't want to pay, me personally, I moved here in 2008 and I think my taxes were like $2,000 a year when I first moved here. And now we're paying almost $5,000 a year. It's outrageous.
It ain't going to get any better.
Well, no, but if we can get someone else to bring in, more money, maybe my taxes won't go up. I doubt that.
Yeah, because let me give you the phone number to Daryl McCall.
Yeah.
So right now the schools take up such a huge portion of our town budget, and I don't know the exact number. I don't want. It's 60+% or something like that. So.
Now, I'll tell you what, if a farmer who owns all this land, who doesn't have family that want to take it over, and he wants to retire and sell his land, he's going to do so. And the people that are going to buy it right now, I believe, are developers. And there's already proof of that happening in town.
Unfortunately, that's Boston's way of looking at things. So you will see a lot more of that happening, like I say, unfortunately. And
I think that's only because
it is too bad, Sean, because the APR and that's all with federal money. And of course, they went and put the kibosh on growing any weed or anything else like that. And you'd be surprised how many acres in this town are under APR. So
yeah.
It throws it under the bus.
Well, Dick, it doesn't even have to be marijuana. It can be CBD. I mean, that's a huge business right now, too.
I know.
Well, at least allowing for hemp, and that's where hemp comes in.
Yeah, that's huge money.
It's not as big, not as big as money as the retail use of it, and
it's better than corn and soybeans.
Correct. Yeah. And at the moment, I haven't heard too much lately from Vermont. And that's where there was 1,200 plus acres up there of farming hemp. So it would be very interesting to hear some feedback about that too.
Yeah.
So, and I think it clearly states the reasons why. If you, I don't know if you have it in front of you, but the very first change, for the locations, the reasons is that I have are, where's the paper at?
In Rutland, it was the police. I wanted it on Route 68 so we could pick up Hubbardston and Holden. And the police chief said, no, I want it closer to the center of town to keep
Yeah,
an
unfortunately,
eye on.
I think that they hold bias, because if you look at, the state has been selling recreational, and I haven't heard once of any marijuana shop being robbed, or nefarious people coming in to their town because of pot shops. Look,
Well, I'm not going to say that.
well, but if you look at the statistics, the majority of the people that use marijuana right now are baby boomers and people that are under the age of 45. I mean, over the age of 45, and you're talking, taxpayers here who have families who know that this
cheap. What you're saying, Sean, is it's not cheap.
no, and my opinion, it's people. I think people realize that it's a better alternative to drinking alcohol.
Well, let me ask a question.
You have in my opinion, you have a long road to hoe, but you need to educate people and get out there with a lot of statistics and facts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Dick.
Yeah,
it's a sales pitch. It's basically the numbers, the PowerPoints, the brochures, just because I hate to say this, but people are sometimes like cattle. The more information you get, the more times they see it in front of them, they remember it and they see it. It's almost like training. The more times you train a person in the same thing, better their retention is.
Yep, very true.
Yeah, that's
One last
I'm just looking for
suggestion.
support. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe we can table this discussion because it's getting.
Yeah, it is getting late. I'm getting hungry.
I'm out of steam.
I would like to make a number of comments and a couple of questions. I guess first of all, I'm going to preface this by saying what should be pretty obvious to, I think, all of you. I am not a fan of recreational marijuana. Okay, that's just my own personal feeling. Trying to push that as far aside as I possibly can. I see some real problems with at least a number of these proposals from a zoning perspective. And I just start with the allowed uses in zoning districts, where basically you are allowing businesses in residential districts. A marijuana retailer allowed in an R60 zone. Okay.
Right now, you're allowed bars,
but nobody could open a toy store. That's not allowed in an R60 district.
But yet you can sit and drink alcohol and do that. I don't see any difference.
Sean, let Norm finish. I want him to go through. I want to hear the whole spiel.
Yeah. And I'll go for the same thing with, marijuana product manufacturer. That is definitely a business use for business districts. Marijuana micro business, it's just a combination, the same thing. Now, marijuana cultivator, somewhere I can kind of see, I was probably originally under the impression that 90% of marijuana cultivation would be done indoors. Apparently, that's not necessarily true. Yes, R60 district is where quotes farmland is. Yeah, that's kind of a maybe. Uh, but some of these others, like I say, I just see a direct contradiction. You restrict one section of town to residential use, and now you're going to say no, but we'll allow this one particular business. And if someone wants to open up an appliance repair shop, nope, you can't do it in an R60 zone. It's not allowed. But you can open up a retail marijuana retail store. Uh, like I say, I just see that as a contradiction. Anyway, that's kind of my thought on some of this. Um, the other thing, and this is just a question to you, Sean. What very, very particularly are you looking for from the planning board?
Oh, to just their, if they would support a change in the bylaw, since it is the planning board who came up with the bylaw steering at the time, and it is a zoning change. So I'm looking to see to what I'm looking for is hopefully that the planning board will see that this is a win-win solution for the town. To make these changes to the bylaw will increase revenue to the town.
In other words, should this come to town meeting floor, you're looking for the planning board to give a favorable recommendation.
A favorable recommendation. Yeah, I'm not asking the planning. I'm asking to do. Well, I'm not asking. I'm saying I'm willing to do all the work, just like you said with Clee and his thing. If he, to do all the work for you guys, and to let it go as a citizen's petition, which again will have me do all the work. I just hoping to um, educate a entity that has authority over zoning, and to try to convince them that this will be beneficial to the town.
Norm, didn't we have this? I'm not saying this exact situation, but with the solicitation, didn't at the time the chief say, and I say the police chief again, and I'm not saying this exact. I'm just saying a process of a good way to get some of these bylaw changes is get it down on paper, do the homework, and then get it before the bylaw subcommittee and try to get it, brought before the town through the planning board. Does that make sense?
At this time for this upcoming town meeting, I don't think there's really time for that.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, but that's what Chief Apikowski had recommended, is that how to get some of the, in that case, it was a solicitation bylaw. To get it through, the best way to do it would be, to get the planning board on board and behind it. So, and again, for this town meeting, you're right, it's not going to happen. This, so I don't know.
And that's why, Norman, that's why I'm saying I'm willing to do all the work, because I mean, a lot of it's, I've already rewritten the changes, and that took some more work. That took work to decide whether or not those changes would be beneficial to the town, and to put limitations on some of those changes as well. I if you read it, you would understand. If you read it and don't understand, I'm here to answer those questions. But the I have there's reasons written. I mean, like for the change in one, the R60 district is where farms of this town are located, and that's my whole idea is to help the farmers in town. As farms are decreasing in the state due to the income they bring in, this change will allow farms to use cannabis as a supplemental income. Under the current zoning bylaw, it does not, because it just, they're not zoned for it, and no other bylaw in town allows it, because a farmer can't say, well, I want to use this under the agricultural accessory. Well, even under that bylaw, it doesn't allow it because it's not considered an agricultural use. I mean, neither is frisbee golf or weddings, but that's an argument that again, me doing the work will have to convince the town's public that you're allowing an alcohol brewing company, something that has so much research done that alcohol is a horrible thing. That by definition, it's a poison. Now I understand people who want to do it. That's fine. I enjoy my drink, and I enjoy the cider that I make from my own apple tree, and that's my right. But to say, well, we're going to allow one negative thing, but not allow another, or allow one positive thing and not allow another, that's just not fair. That's bias, and it's not good business practice. And I'm not looking at what's right and wrong. I'm looking at what the law allows.
I think if you follow that to its logical conclusion, you would have to say that you would have to allow everything everywhere.
Some states are doing that. I mean, look at what Oregon just did right now. They decriminalized heroin. Now that's beyond my comprehension, but they decriminalized cocaine and heroin. I mean, and that's great. In Massachusetts, right now, it's when it comes to, and I can validate this because I have a degree in substance abuse and addiction and alcohol dependency. That the one thing in Massachusetts that they push is do no harm. That's why they're allowing all these clinics to open up where people could come in and shoot up their heroin, so they don't shoot up, get in their car and drive. You want to shoot up? You come to this facility here. I think there's one in Brockton. Unfortunately, they're in a lot of the disparaging areas of Massachusetts. But that's do no harm. If you want to harm yourself, by all means, don't go and get in the vehicle and kill somebody. And that's I mean, we're not Amsterdam, so I don't agree with that. But when it comes to cannabis, it's pretty well known that the effects of it don't even compare to alcohol. And the research.
On that note, can I make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, please. I welcome that.
But before we do that, Norm, do we want to put this as a discussion point for the next meeting? That's where I'm struggling with it right now, because I don't know how to approach this. Because if it hasn't gone through the bylaw subcommittee, what can we do?
We can hold a meeting of the zoning bylaws subcommittee, because this is a zoning issue.
Well, that's Maryland's. That's Maryland's. If she still accepts chairman, that's her bailiwick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, even after that, it has to come before the planning board.
Yeah.
So I hate to jump rank.
I think it's going to be hard to, there's a lot of work that you need to do on this in terms of the presentation to the town.
Oh, yeah.
And exactly how you're going to present it. What are your selling points?
That's up to me. That's why I'm willing to do the work.
No, I know that, but my own personal opinion is, and kind of professional opinion, having done this a few times, is that it's going to be hard to get this done by town meeting.
And I don't know, Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong, if we were to push this to the subcommittee, they then report back to the planning board. It would seem to me then that these amendments would literally have to be sponsored by the planning board.
Right.
For town meeting.
And to get it on,
we couldn't do this and then it'd still be a citizen's petition.
Yeah, with all due respect, that's all I need is to get the signatures to get it onto the board. Then it befalls me to educate the public. I'm trying to educate the
But like I
board.
say, if we go the subcommittee route, because it is a part of the planning board, that means that officially the planning board is,
We're supporting it, Norm, for the town.
we're
We're
taking,
basically recommending it to the select board.
yeah, we're taking up an issue.
Unless the planning board does not agree to address it. Is that possible? I mean, could that be a happening?
Yes.
I think the word would be there's a Latin word where you say we don't really have anything to say about it. It's
Non-committal.
yeah, non-committus simpli.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't speak Latin, but yeah, it would be like, well, we have no opinion whatsoever. But I wouldn't want to go that route. I hope to educate you that these changes will not only help the major landowners in town, which are farms. I mean, I could even go. I don't know if I could go the route of trying to get this changed to add it to the agricultural accessory bylaw. But I think that's a state. I don't know if that's something that can be changed. If that bylaw can be changed to allow this, you know what I mean? Because the accessory bylaw was something that was pushed by the state.
Sean, all of this is going to take time and energy, and I think the energy here is gone.
Yeah, at least tonight.
Correct. So, but it's something that we can have more discussion about. But
yeah, there is time.
And my biggest thing right now, before I say goodnight, is Norm, can we meet in person? Because Marilyn, have you had your 2 shots yet?
Oh,
Yes.
hold on a second, Mr. Chairman. I forgot to give out the most important information, but maybe you guys were on the FICOM's meeting at the Council on Aging facility. So why can't we?
Yeah,
Marilyn can walk to it.
I know. I like the idea.
And it's
Yeah,
not.
I don't know if that'd be possible, at least while FinCom is meeting, because they meet on every Tuesday night now.
Well, if the vice chairman has an accident and can't make it, I can make that happen.
Well,
I'm not
let me
gonna
say
put that
this.
in the minutes.
Don't, please, God. Chief
right.
Monaco will be over at my house tomorrow.
Yeah, let me go back into planning board mode. Because I wasn't really looking for a decision as a citizen right now. This was just an informational, just a discussion. So I'll. Citizen Sean is hanging up his coat. I'm back, and I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, second that.
Okay.
All right.
Do I have any discussion?
Undebatable.
I'm the last, I think, unappointed official here tonight, and I just want to say I certainly appreciate Mr. Moore's efforts. I really commend them. I think the town really needs to do this and really needs to update, and I appreciate and support him and wholeheartedly so. And I'd like the town to remember, our community roots as a farming community. I really think that this has vision for that. So I thank you guys. I hope you have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. That you stuck on as long as you could.
Yeah.
Certainly did. I wanted to give my piece. I really think he's been working hard.
All right.
Just by the way, I had my first shot today.
Awesome.
Good for you. Yeah, I'll be officially immune in a week from today.
Same here.
So,
I must say that I'm with Marilyn and Dick. In 1 week, I'll be completely immune.
okay, I had a motion. I'm not sure if we had a second.
Second.
We did.
Okay, roll call vote. Sean,
Aye.
Marilyn,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Norm, aye. We are adjourned.